to make your questions specific. Try not to make them too big, because big questions are really not that useful. You know, people come here every day and they say, how can I be good at English? How do I answer that? How can I answer that? That's you can't answer that. That's too big, right? So try to think of something that's a problem for you, something that's difficult for you, something specific. Okay? And yes, Bana, I will give my YouTube channel. Here is my YouTube channel. Here is my website. And here is my blog. Okay? What just happened? That was weird. Okay, so you Chinese can't use YouTube. 我知道，可是 what do you want me to do about that? 如果你用梯子，你可以，你知道你需要用梯子。But DT, all of my YouTube streams, it's this. My Hello Talk stream right now is on YouTube. So this is what's on YouTube, right? So you can see it here. All right? It's the same thing. All right? You've been here a couple times, you can understand a little, but you're new. Okay, well, just do the best you can and listen as much as you can and ask as many questions as you can. I don't know when to use present perfect and when to use simple present. All right, let's talk about that. Hold on, let me pull up my notes. All right. So present simple is the most, that's the easiest one, right? Things that are happening now, that's simple present. All right. So when we talk about simple present, we're talking about things that are, let's see. I mean, everybody knows what simple present is, but where are my notes? What happened to my notes? Go back. There it is. Why is my phone acting so funny today? I'm sorry, wait a minute. Let me just pull up the right folder. I can do this without my notes, but it's always better if I have my notes. Okay, so, present simple. I live in blah, blah, blah. I live in London. I live in France. I live in Paris. I live in New York. That's present. That's now. Okay? But here's my first question. What does perfect mean, Snow? What does perfect mean? When you say present perfect, don't answer. If you know the answer, then don't tell. Let somebody else guess. If you've been here before, I've asked this question many times, so many people have heard me say this before. All right? But I need other people to have a chance to answer the question. So, tell me what you think perfect means. Tell me what you think the word perfect means. That's correct, actually, in this case, Snow. Perfect has two meanings. One meaning of perfect is, wow, that was wonderful. That was perfect. That was the perfect dinner. It means amazing, right? But the meaning of perfect in grammar is something that has already been finished, something that has been completed, okay? So I tell people to forget the word perfect when you're talking about tenses and don't say perfect. Instead, say completed. So present completed, okay? That means things that you just completed recently in the present, all right? So, for example, okay, there we go. There we go. All right, so if I say, I've finished my dinner, I've finished my dinner. When did I finish? Yesterday? Did I finish my dinner yesterday? No, that's now. It just happened, right? I've finished my homework. If I say I have finished my homework, I'm not talking about last week. If I was, then I would say, last week I finished my homework on Friday. Okay, so if it's recently, just recently, then you'll say, I have something. Okay, so for example, I have finished, he has left. Where's Bob? Oh, he's left. That means just recently he left. All right? Or let's see. Let me find another one here. There we go. I have finished the report. If I did a report, that's just recently, right? We have done our homework. We've done our homework. That's just recently. Let's see. She's lived in Italy for 6 years. If I say she has lived in Italy for 6 years, that means that she's still there right now, right? Or he has been here before. Okay? Those are for recent things. Those are the affirmative. Those are called affirmative recents. Okay? There's a good page for this I want to show you. Here it is. Let me find this page for you and share it. All right, take a look at this. Take a screenshot of that. This is present perfect tense. Okay? If I say has been living, then that's present perfect continuous. That's the only difference, is it becomes continuous instead of just recent, right? So one is present perfect and one is present perfect continuous. I'm sorry I didn't make that more clear before. I should have. Okay? Thank you for catching that little detail. Abood. Right? That's present perfect continuous because it's still continuing. Okay, I meant to say that and I forgot to mention it. So take a picture of this. This is how you say it in the affirmative, which means positive, right? I have lived, you have lived, we have lived, they have lived, he has lived, she has studied, he has studied, okay? It has eaten, right? Or the negative, I haven't eaten, he hasn't eaten, okay? Or as a question, have you lived, has she eaten, okay? He had lived there. Yes, that's correct, Zane. If you say he had, that's before, but not now. That's correct. Okay, let me go back and make sure I didn't miss a comment or question. Yeah, something has already been finished. That's right. Hello, Carlos. Can you use sweep somebody off their feet in daily life? Well, yes, DT, you can, but it's not like that comes up very often, right? So to sweep someone off their feet is usually a romantic thing to say, right? Like a girl will say that about a guy. She met a guy, and this guy's very romantic, and he bought her flowers and chocolates, and he took her out to dinner, and he, wrote a song for her, and he did all these things for her. He swept me off my feet. That's what that means, okay? It means it's like from dancing. You know, there's old movies where the couple is dancing to the music, and then the guy will pick her up and either dip her or hold her, kind of, right? And she is not, she might even, he might pick her up, like completely. If he picks her up, then he has swept her off her feet. So it's almost like she feels like she's just in heaven. All right? So can you use it in daily life? That depends on how often you fall in love, man. Hello, Romana. Hello, Gaia. Hello, Ali. You are welcome, Snow. You didn't see my live stream yesterday. You were studying that hour. You would have liked to have listened to The Day That Never Comes. What does that mean, Carlos? I don't understand. What is that? Oh, the song. Duh. I'm terrible with song names. I was like, The Day That Never Comes. That's one of those ones where the words are not that special. So when you hear the words "the day that never comes," that could just be words. So then it was like, oh wait, that's a song. That's right, that's a song. Yeah. Is it more suitable for women to say? Typically, DT. Yeah. Let me see something. It says it's gender neutral, okay? So it could be for men or for women, okay? In my experience, DT, it's usually used in a romantic sense. And if it is usually used in a romantic sense, then it's usually from a woman about a man. But it could be maybe, maybe you have a new employee, right? Somebody, you hired a new person to come help you at your job, and they're just amazing. They do so many amazing things, and they're so much better than you thought they would be. You could say, they really swept me off my feet. They swept us off our feet. Okay, I think if it were a company talking about an employee, I think I would use the word us and not me, so it doesn't sound so personal. Because it sounds personal. It's a romantic tone. Historically, it's usually a male romantic gesture towards a woman, but it could be used for other things, but it might sound awkward. Okay? Let's see. Hello, Asma. Is it correct to say I'll sweep her off I'll sweep her off her feet? Yes, you could say that. Yes, I'll sweep. SWEEP. Yeah, that would mean like I'm going to try to be amazing. I'm going to try to do everything that she loves. I'm going to try to really impress her. I'm going to try to sweep her off her feet. All right, it means to try to really, really impress her. Okay? Hello, Scaras. Okay, next question is what about I had been hoping to go with my family? You mean what tense is that? I had been hoping that would be past perfect continuous, right? So you're talking about something that was in the past, but it's still continuing. I had been hoping. Hoping implies it's still continuing because it's got the ing, but had been implies that it's in the past, right? Okay. Hello, Kiyun. Hello, Flavia. Okay, if you have questions, you should ask. All right. I have a problem linking the words. My level is B1. Yusuf, when you say I have problem linking the words, do you mean pronunciation? Like all of your words sound like this? Every word sounds separated and not together? Is that what you mean? Or do you mean you can't think of the vocabulary to link? So if it's the first one, there are many people who have trouble making their words sound smooth, like to make it all sound nice and smooth when you speak, right? The trick to that is singing. Okay? When you sing a song, the words naturally link together. And the reason why is because when you sing, you take one breath and your one breath you'll use that one breath for all of the words. So for example, if I sing watch. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. So that was one breath, right? Row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat. They all went together nice and smoothly because I'm singing. So singing is a really great trick to learn how to make the words come together smoothly. Okay? Can you use past simple continuous? I don't know what you mean by can you use it. Yeah, you can use it. I don't understand what that means, though. Of course, you can use it. Can I say I'm the Switzerland, meaning, yeah, we just say I'm Switzerland. Yeah. Like maybe two friends are arguing, right? You have two friends who are arguing, and they both look at you like, what do you think? And you can just say, hey, don't ask me, I'm Switzerland. Okay? Now, historically, that was true. That's not as true anymore. The fact is Switzerland has actually taken some sides in the last 30 or 40 years or so. 30 years, we'll call it. So, traditionally, that meant I'm neutral. It may not necessarily hold its value anymore, though. Its meaning. What is it like to be a male nurse in the United States? It's just like being any other kind of nurse. My sister is a nurse in the United States, and being a nurse is a difficult job. It's a very hard job. It's a lot of work, very difficult work. It depends on where you're working. My sister used to work in a hospital in downtown Chicago. That's rough. That's like you're dealing with gunshot wounds and drug addicts and criminals and lots of things. That's not all you're dealing with. You're dealing with regular people who are having heart attacks and things like that too. But it's you also have a bullet wound to deal with. So it's a good job. It pays well. What does adequate mean? Adequate means good enough. So if you turn in a homework assignment, you give me your homework and I look at it and I say, all right, this is adequate. That means I'm not really happy. I don't think you did a great job. I think you did just barely enough. That's adequate. All right? Adequate means you did enough. It's not a lot more. It's good enough. That's it. All right? It's adequate. But it's sometimes it sounds almost like it's an insult because it sounds almost like it's like this is really average. It's adequate. It's average is adequate, right? All right. Hello, Waleed. What is the difference between free time and leisure time? Nothing. Nothing. I would say those are both the same thing. In my free time, in my leisure time, I like to go fishing. Okay? Is past perfect not common? No, it's very common. When you answer others, I can understand what you say, especially about life, but I can't understand new vocabulary that I explain. Ja ja. Well, it depends, Ja Ja. Next time that happens, Ja Ja, say I don't understand. And then maybe I can explain it in Chinese. All right? Or I can explain it another simple way, a more simple way in English. Okay, I can simplify it. Okay, spare time, Ali, means extra time. Extra time. So maybe maybe you're really busy with work this week. You're really busy working, and you have a son, and he wants to go to the park to play ball with you tomorrow. You've been really busy at work, but he wants to go play ball with you tomorrow. He wants to throw the ball with you. So he'll ask you, Dad, tomorrow, do you have any spare time that we could go throw a ball? Okay, spare time means a little extra time, little free time. Will you have any time available that's not already busy? Okay, so leisure time means things that you do for leisure. Free time could have two meanings. Free time could be leisure time, or free time could be spare time. You're right. Free time could be like, do you have any free time tomorrow? Do you have any spare time tomorrow? Okay, that means do you have anything, any openings in your schedule? Okay. The word acquaintance, is it a handy word or a useful one? Acquaintance is a word that means somebody that you know, you have met them. That's it. somebody that you have been acquainted with. To acquaint yourself with someone means to meet them and know them. That's it. You don't know them well. You're not good friends. You just know who they are, and you have met them once before. So now you are acquaintances. You have been acquainted before. You've met before. All right? So, for example, my Facebook page, I have many, many acquaintances on my Facebook page, but not all of them are my friends. Most of them are more acquaintances. They're people I've met and they're people I know, but they're not any, I've never spent any time with them. We're not close. We know each other in some form. We've met in some form, in business, in life, through other friends, something like that. That's an acquaintance. Okay? Hello, Kader. You would like some advice? You want to know how to think in English? Well, I can help you with that. I have an article that you can read that will tell you how to do that. And you said, everyone said that when you learn English, you need to think in English. Did everyone tell you that? Because I think I'm the only one who says that. Where did you hear it? Somebody's been stealing my material. Let's see. Where is my article? Here it is. This is an article that I wrote about how to think in English, that you need to learn how to think in the language. Okay? All right, let's see. Be patient. I'm trying to answer all the questions. Although Arabic has many dialects, modern standard Arabic is used in books. If we say the same thing about English, which dialect would it be? Miriam, it's not exactly the same, but there's the English dialect, that's American English dialect, and the British English dialect. Then each of those, there are, accents within those dialects, right? So I'm using the American dialectic and the accent, okay? And I have one of 30 accents in America. And there are many accents in the UK as well. So, it's actually kind of a hard question to answer. Yes, Omar, it's barely enough. It's not great, but it's enough. All right? It meets the requirements. That's what it means. Adequate means it meets the requirements. That's it. Okay? Do the words and grammar people use in everyday speech show their social class? Ooh, that's a good question, and how educated they are. It might. It might, DT, but it might not, man. And here's why, DT. Because there is something called code switching. Have you ever heard of code switching, DT? Code switching is a psychological, sociological term that means that every person you talk to, you change the way you speak depending on who they are. So the way you speak to your parents is different than the way you speak with your best friend or with your girlfriend. And that's different than the way you speak to a customer or a client. And that's different than the way you speak to someone you think is your enemy, right? So we change the way we speak depending on where we go and what we're doing, right? So this is how I sound now, but is this how I sound all the time? No, maybe not. So then we have the famous saying in English, never judge a book by its cover, which means that you don't know what's on the inside based on looking at the outside. And in English, or in language, there is a term called linguicism. Linguicism means judging someone based on their language ability, like judging someone unfairly based on their language ability. Okay, so it happens sometimes, but it's often wrong. So it's definitely not a good idea to rely on judging someone's language. Also, you need to remember that the way language works is, how do I explain this? Wait a minute, let me think of a good analogy. Hold on, I'm thinking. So when you learn language in school, I have the analogy. Listen to me. When you learn language in school, it's like you're learning from the beginning of the river, right? A river, where does a river begin? Right? Let's think about where the river begins. That's where you're learning English in school. So when you learn English in school, that's the beginning. You know the basic idea, right? That's the general idea of English. But then you're going to grow up, and as you grow up, your English is going to take you in different places depending on what you do. So some people, they'll become doctors and lawyers and, maybe an engineer or a writer or something, right? An academic scientist who writes research papers. That river now is going to split. And so one part of that river goes off this way, and that's academic English. But then another person, their life goes down to another part of the river. They're doing business English. So their life goes off into business English. But then there's another person who they just get a job working at a factory, or maybe they're a mechanic or an engineer, an electrician or a plumber, okay? And English and language is not a huge part of their job. So that part of the river will go off in this direction. So what I mean is, we learn language back at the beginning of the river, but then the river is going to split as you grow, and your language will go in whatever direction your life goes. So if your life goes in a direction that doesn't need grand language, then you won't use grand language. But if you need it, then that's where you will go. Now, there are some people who just like to maintain a high level of language, and so they're good in every area, no matter what their purpose is. But the majority of people, their language ends up where their life ends up. Understand? So this is true everywhere. In every country, you learn the language up here and you learn all the rules, but then as you grow and as your life goes on, your language doesn't usually stay up here. It usually lands wherever it needs to land. It settles. Okay, so if you're a lawyer, it settles pretty high because you have to maintain that high ability. But if you work in a factory, then maybe your language settles pretty low because you don't need it. Do you understand? Okay? All right, let's see. Give you an alternate word for at the same time. Simultaneously. Simultaneously means at the same time. Simultaneously. Hello, Mark. What's the difference between time passes and time runs out? Time passing means tick-tock, 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 tick-tock. Time is passing. But time runs out means, oh no, we're out of time. Okay? Time is passing. Time is passing. Okay, look, the time is passing. And when this is done, the time will have run out. Understand? Is it correct to say you need to acquaint yourself with those guys to be able to fulfill the mission? Sure. Yeah, to acquaint yourself with something means to become familiar with it. Yes, you could use it that way. Hello, code switch your tongue when you talk to me. Remember who I am. Is that a good example? Not exactly. Omar, we don't usually tell people to code switch, and we don't talk about code switching very often. Code switching is something that usually happens. People don't realize. People don't think they're doing anything. They don't recognize that they do change their language. But so we won't really say it directly. Okay, but it does happen. Hello, Belen. How are you? Okay, let's see. Okay, the next question is, in words like hideous, the OUS, is that a suffix or a mnemonic? It's a suffix. OUS at the end of a word, it usually means something that's like the nature of something. It's the nature of it, right? So dangerous. It's the nature of it is that it has danger. Okay? And hideous is a funny word. There it is. Hideous means terrifying or horrible or dreadful. And it comes from the old... Let me see. The old guess is that it comes from the vulgar Latin hispidosus, or hispidus, which means shaggy or bristly. Huh. Oh, but that's the old version of it. Okay, so if something is hideous, it just means the nature of being ugly. Okay, or terrifying. Okay? So there are many OUS words. Like I hate when that happens. Words ending suffix. There it is. Sorry. Couldn't find it, but I did now. So how many entries are there? 165. So we have, let's see, advantageous, ambidextrous, atrocious, auspicious, beauteous, bounteous, cancerous, cantankerous, capacious, cautious. I mean, there are a lot of OUS words, okay? You don't understand what? Tell me what you don't understand. I can't help you if you don't tell me what you don't understand. And hello over there in my YouTube. Okay, yeah, that's a good example. Oh my God, I'm surprised how she code switched her language when she talked to that rich guy. Yeah, or you could say she used code switching, but it's CODE, code. Okay? What is the approximate vocabulary size for most Americans? That's really hard to say. For a typical educated American college student, that's still hard to say. Even among college students, that's hard to say because there are some college students who have a fairly basic level of college vocabulary, but then there are some who are more at the advanced level of college vocabulary. So let's see. Wait a minute. So the range it says is, and I think this is probably about right. It's probably somewhere between 25,000 and 50,000. All right? That's what I mean. It's a big range. So there are some students that might go to a community college who might not have the greatest vocabulary, and they might have, it might be closer to 25,000 for them. But there might be some who go to a higher level university and they're a lot more into vocabulary and into language and they read a lot. They might have closer to 50,000. Okay? Can I clarify the use of do and make? It's hard because there are many situations where they can be used interchangeably, and there are so many different ways to use them. But let me give you a good page once again that will make it a little easier for you. Nope, that's not the one. This one. Okay, look here. Do versus make. Let me see if I can make that bigger for you. Wait, no, I'm going to do it a different way. Hold on. I'll make it better. Okay, take a screenshot of this. Ah, no, I keep choosing the wrong one. Screenshot of this. There we go. Okay, so we have do versus make, the difference between do versus make. Take a picture. All right, and let me take a look and show you here the differences. So for work and jobs and tasks, we say do. Do the housework, do your homework, do a good job, do your chores. Okay, we won't say make your chores or make a good job. We won't say make your homework. We won't say make the housework. All right? For non-specific activities, do something, do nothing, do anything, do everything. Okay, now that's an example where you could say make. I could say, hey, are you going to make something? Are you going to make nothing? Are you going to make anything? Are you going to make everything? Make still works, it just has a different meaning, right? To create something. Do is just an action, okay? Replacing verbs when obvious. Do your hair, do the dishes, do the exam, do the laundry. This one is not as common, but it does happen, right? What are you doing tonight? Oh, I need to do my hair. That's something, sometimes girls say it that way. I need to do the dishes. That's very common. To wash the dishes or do the dishes. Okay? Uh, Food and drink and meals. Make a cake, make breakfast, make dinner, make a cup of coffee. All right? Product materials made of gold, made from material or made in China, made from grapes, made by me. All right? So this is a good little list that should help you to try to understand the difference between do and make. Okay? All right. Watch my words. What do you mean, watch my words? Did I say something wrong? Hello, Magdalena. You can read and you can translate, but you can't speak. You need to read my article about thinking in English. Read that article, Shams. Okay, this article right here. This is the reason why most people can't speak is because they can't think well and they never practice thinking. So whenever you need to speak, your brain freaks out because you never ever practice thinking. You don't know how to think. That's a problem. That's a big problem. So this will help you start to fix that problem. Okay? Is it correct to say we gather around the eating? No, we could say we gather around the table. You could say we gather around the table to eat. That's fine. It's a little formal to speak that way, but you can, yes. Okay. Can you log in from Google Chrome? Oh, you mean here? No. You can make a live stream. You can make a live stream with Chrome. You cannot log into other live streams. You can't watch anyone's live stream. You can make one. That's the only thing you can do on your computer using HelloTalk. All right? If you want to do a live stream on your computer, you just copy the link from HelloTalk and open it in your browser on your computer. Oh, to read my articles, yes, in Chrome. That's right. Copy and paste that into Chrome. And then it's free. My blog is free, at least for now, but you have to subscribe, right? So you have to give me your email, and then after that, then you can read whatever. All right? Okay, let's see. So I see a lot of people here in the audience, and I'm wondering why none of you are asking me questions. What's up with that? Huh? Many people say Chinese is the hardest language, but knowing 3 or 4,000 characters covers 94. That's right. Yeah, that's so. Why do people say Chinese is hard? Because writing Chinese is hard. Reading Chinese is hard. Pronunciation of Chinese is hard. But you're right. The vocabulary and the grammar, pretty easy. I was able to start speaking Chinese with just about 2,000 words. Like once I had about 2,000 words, I felt like I mean, it's really basic, but I can say a lot. You know, I could explain, I could say what I want, what I need, what I don't like. That's pretty good. You know, 2,000. That's much easier to express yourself in that language with that level of basic vocabulary than most other languages. So, Even Americans with less education struggle to describe their symptoms accurately at the doctor. So, how many English words do foreigners need to know? Okay, yeah. So again, DT, that's right. What's the purpose of language, man? The purpose of language is not to know every word. The purpose of language is to communicate and to express yourself, right? And again, as I was saying earlier, your language ends up wherever the river of language takes you, right? And not everybody ends up in the same place. So yes, there are many, many, many people in America whose language is quite low, really low. It's kind of funny, DT, because it's funny that your name is DT also, because there are all these people here who say they can't even speak English. They can't even speak English. All these foreigners can't even speak English. Well, guess what? A whole lot of Americans, their English is really not that great either. And they don't even know another language. They only know one language, and even that language, their ability is not good. So, does that mean everybody is that way? No. It depends on where you go. It depends on who you meet. It depends on what your purpose is. Okay, you can find whatever language you want to find. Okay, if I want to speak academically, I can find people to do that. If I want to speak colloquially, I can find people to do that. All right? All right. You only have 5 minutes, Dana. Why? Why do North Americans not use oughtn't? We used to a long time ago, Carlos, but it just became unpopular. Some words just lose favor. They just don't become, they're just not popular anymore. Okay, so ought and oughtn't are both not common anymore, really. We say should. Okay? I know ought, but I very rarely use it. Okay? And I do use oughtn't. But again, very rarely. Very, very rarely do I use oughtn't. What's the difference between clean and clean up? Clean up is a phrasal verb that means to clean anything, right? I'm going to clean up my room. I'm going to clean up the car. I'm going to clean up my homework. I'm going to clean up my desktop on my computer. Clean up is a general phrasal verb that means to clean anything. Clean is a word that could be a verb or it could be an adjective. So it could be saying to clean something, right? Or it could be saying this dish is clean. It is clean. I cleaned it. Now it is clean. Okay? Is it true you don't study your own grammar in school? No, that's not true. We do study grammar. I think maybe they do a little less now than they did when I was in school, but no, they do study grammar. Not everybody likes it. Not everybody is good at it. And once we finish school, everyone, once they finish school, most of them are trying to forget. They're trying to forget all the things that they had to learn. They want to forget about past participles and, reported speech, and they want to forget about all of that. They don't want to remember all of those terrible, terrible rules. So after we leave school, if you had no respect for grammar in the first place, then you're not going to keep your grammar as you go. You understand? Okay? You're interested in listening to any of my conversations and explanations of the simple questions. That's your goal, listening and trying. Good for you, Valeri. What do I think about Turkish or Turkey? I don't think anything. It's another place on the planet. They have delicious food. There's a restaurant near me that's a Turkish Kurdish restaurant. When I was in high school, I had a Turkish exchange student come to my house, and he brought a Turkish a copper, one of those big copper coffee dispensers, right? You know, the coffee makers, the big fancy copper ones. And he put the whole thing together and made coffee for my family. I love baklava. I live on Earth, so as a member of the planet Earth, I like Earth. Isn't that a funny thing to say? What's the difference between ought and should? Nothing. Ought is more formal. Why don't Americans really use shall anymore? We do use shall. So look, the words ought and shall, we use them, but not often. And when we use them, they usually have an elevated sense of language. It's more formal. And sometimes in English, when we want to show that we're more serious about something, or maybe we're upset, I will use more formal language. So I might say, oh, you should study more. Or I might say, you ought study more. If I choose the word ought, I elevated my language on purpose, deliberately, when I didn't need to. And that tells you that I'm not happy. So sometimes we elevate our language to show that we are actually upset. So maybe we're arguing and, you know, you're wrong, no, you're wrong, no. We shall see. We shall see. All right? I could say we'll see. We'll see. But if I'm a little more upset, maybe I'll say we shall see. Okay? Siri said that in spoken English, grammar rules are not strictly followed, only speaking practice is important. So that is partly true. It depends on who you're speaking to. If you're speaking to an English professor, then their grammar rules, they probably will follow them. If you're speaking to some guy on the street who doesn't care about language, then yeah, probably he's going to forget about grammar and just speak very casually, and that will mean that there will be some mistakes. All right? I have information that's very important for you to remember. Please remember this. Life is not a grammar test. Okay? Life is not a grammar test. Life is not a grammar test. So, people ask me all the time, is grammar important? And I tell them yes and no. If you're taking a test, grammar is important. If you're in school, grammar is important. If you work at a job that uses English, then grammar is important. But if you're just hanging out with your friends, chatting, if you're at the bar on a Friday night, if you're playing a video game with your buddies, then no, grammar is not that important. Now, did I say you shouldn't think about grammar? I did not. I did not say you shouldn't think about it. What I will say is you shouldn't worry about it. You should think about it, but you shouldn't worry about it. Do you understand the difference? If you worry about it, then maybe you will have another problem now, right? Now your grammar is not so good, but now you're also worried. So now you have two problems. All right? So what I want you to do is I want you to think about your grammar, but I don't want you to worry about it. So what I tell everybody is grammar is like your kitchen table. Do you have a table in your kitchen? Do you have a table in your kitchen? You do. Oh, come on, Beryl, you do. Yes, you do. You have a table in your kitchen and you eat at your table. And every day you have to clean that table. Okay? That's grammar. Grammar is like the kitchen table that you have to clean a little bit every day. You just clean it a little bit every day. That's it. Okay? Don't worry about it, but I do want you to think about it, and I do want you to clean it a little bit every day. All right? Let's see. Happy New Year, Michael. Just speak and speak, right? I heard this really interesting expression, or immortality becomes you, but doesn't become mean turn into. Should it become you become immortal? This is called author's license. So could you say you become immortal? Yes, you could. But when you say immortality becomes you, now it sounds more poetic. It sounds more esoteric and romantic. Okay? You become immortal just sounds like you're explaining something. But if you want it to sound more powerful, then you might say immortality becomes you. All right? Language is an art. It's not a science. You are looking for one way to say everything. There are always hundreds of ways to say everything. And guess what? Even the rules are not forever. Even the rules are not forever. Many words that we use now didn't exist before until someone used them. Shakespeare, at least a few hundred words in English were created by Shakespeare. Milton, another famous literary author, English literature author, right? At least a couple hundred words in English were created by him. So, just last week, someone asked me, can I say this word? And they said, well, it's not in the dictionary. And I said, well, that doesn't mean you can't say it. Just because it's not in the dictionary does not mean you cannot say it. If it makes sense and it follows a form, probably you can say it. If it makes sense, follows a form, and it carries the meaning. If somebody knows what you mean when you say it, then yeah, you can say it. All right? Is the word prosecutor a synonym of lawyer or attorney? Carlos, prosecutor is a kind of lawyer. There are two lawyers when you're in court. There's the prosecution and the defense, right? So in a criminal court, there's the guy who's defending you. That's your defense lawyer. But then there's the guy who's trying to put you in jail. That's the prosecutor. That's the prosecution. Okay? That's so there are two sides. They're all lawyers, they're all attorneys. Lawyer and attorney and barrister, they all mean the same thing. Barrister is the UK word, the British word. Lawyer and attorney are the words we use here. Attorney is just a little bit more formal than lawyer, but it doesn't have any difference in meaning. Okay, so prosecutor is a kind of lawyer. They're the ones who work for the state to try to prosecute criminals. Okay, what's the difference between ought and ought to? Nothing. In most cases, no, nothing. Let's see. Thank you, Valerie. What's the difference between figure out, understand, find out, and know? Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Okay. To figure out, you have to think of the word figure. A long time ago, the word figure meant numbers, right? Like 2 plus 2 is 4. That's those are figures. We used to say that a long time ago. Oh, are you practicing your figures? Did you do your figures means did you practice your math? That was a long time ago we used to say it that way. Okay? So figure it out is talking about when you're doing math, you're doing computations to figure out 2 plus 2 equals what? Right? This and this gives what result? Right? So figure out means to try to solve a problem or understand something, okay? But imagine solving a computation like math, okay? To understand is a general word that means that you learned something and you know how it works and you know what it means. You're not unclear. You are clear about the meaning of what it is. You understand. Okay? To find out is a phrasal verb that means I will go look and find what I need to know. Okay? Did you find out what their phone number is? Did you find out any information? I'm going to find out what happened. Okay? That's just to go learn. Okay? To go seek and find the information is to go find out. To know is similar to understand, but not the same. Okay? You can know something, but not understand it. All right? If I tell you, why is the sky blue? You can say, or if I say, what color is the sky? You'll say the sky is blue. If I say why, that's different. Right? So you know the sky is blue, but why is it blue? That's understanding. To understand means to know why it's happening. What's the purpose? What's the reason? What's the background? What's the full understanding? The full, complete let me think, knowledge and familiarity of that thing. Okay? But there could be many situations where those words might be interchangeable. Okay? So just remember that. Okay? Why does English have the word the that sounds like other words in other language, duh in Dutch? Because they're related. An ant. Why does Vietnam have banh mi's? Banh mi has French bread. Why do you have French bread in Vietnam? Because there's a relationship there, right? There's a history there, right? So, guess what? English is called a Germanic language. It doesn't mean it's German. It means it's related to German. And Dutch is also a Germanic language. So there are many words in English that come from German, okay? And there are many relationships to early German sentence structure and syntax and some grammar. Okay, so why is the word the like the word duh in German? Because they're related. Okay? They're related, that's why. You can understand 80%, that's good. Give some tips for speaking. Speak. If you ask a good question, I'll give a good answer. If you ask a lazy question, I'm not going to give a good answer. I'm going to give a lazy answer. Okay? Beam. Is that a creepy smile or just a smile? No, I think that's a regular smile. A beam is a good smile, I think. He was beaming. That's like proud. That's like joyfully happy, right? He's beaming, right? Like if you just passed your test and you got 100% and you thought you weren't going to do that well, you walk out of that classroom and you're like, yes, I'm beaming, right? Like sunbeams coming out of you. Okay, so to beam is like sunbeams are coming out of your smile. Okay, it's happy, it's joyful. Okay, I don't think it's creepy. No. Okay. What level are you, Jaja? I think I would say you're probably around B1. Probably, Jaja. Is it better to memorize words or sentences? No, it is not. Only for a couple of things. For your introduction, yes, you should learn how to memorize a good introduction for yourself. You should have a simple introduction that's casual, a casual, simple introduction, and you should have a formal, longer introduction. You should have two. And those you should memorize. But everything else, no, you should not memorize. Memorizing is something I never, ever, ever do. I don't know why you do. I never do. But let me tell you a better way. I have an article that I want you to read. Read this article, and this article will tell you how you should learn vocabulary. I wrote that. Go read it. Okay? If you ask for something, how will you ask for it in English? Well, that depends on what I'm asking for. May I have some milk? May I have some more cheese? Would you like to go to the park with me? It depends on what I'm asking. There are many ways to ask things. As an English translation major, the deeper I study, the more ignorant I feel and the more I panic. How can I reconcile with this state of mind? Relax. I can tell that your English is quite good. All right? You are writing well. That doesn't happen very much anymore. Everybody, when they type, they're lazy. They don't... Even when you're trying to learn a language, right? Look, if you're on the internet, I understand. You're on the internet, it's not important, so you're lazy and you just type the way you want to type. But if you are learning a language and you are being lazy and typing at a level that's below what you know you could do, so if you're not capitalizing your letters, you're not using punctuation like commas and periods, you're not using proper grammar, if you're not doing any of that, but you know how, why? I will never understand someone who's trying to learn something and they are practicing poorly. They know they're practicing poorly. When you use the language at a level below where you can, you are practicing poorly. You're deliberately practicing wrong, and I don't know why. So DT, you don't do that. I can see you're writing, you're trying to write at the best level you can, which is great. Now, the other thing, DT, is guess what? You're never finished learning a language, man. Learning a language is like learning a musical instrument. Nobody is finished learning the piano. Nobody is finished learning the violin. Nobody is finished learning the guitar or the drums. You're not finished learning a musical instrument, just like you're not finished learning Chinese or French or English or German. You're never finished, okay? So it's a lifelong journey of learning, okay? And every lifelong journey of learning, the deeper you study, the more ignorant you feel. Because DT, what happens when you climb a mountain, DT? When you climb a mountain, it's hard. And you get to the top of that mountain, and now, how much of the world can you see from the top of that mountain? So when you were at the bottom of the mountain, you couldn't see that much of the world. But now you've gotten to the top. Now you can see the world. So anytime you learn something, you learn how little you know. Anytime you climb a mountain, you see how much of the world you really don't know about. All right? So that's natural. And I think you're new here. I haven't seen you very much, I don't think. You should come regularly and ask me your questions, all right? Pick my brain. Most words in English are from Latin. You're new also. I'm the teacher. 60% of English words come from Latin or Greek. 30% of English words come from French. 20% of English words come from German. Many English words come from Hindi, Arabic, Persian, Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, Italian. English comes from many, many, many languages. The main languages are Latin, Greek, French, and German, and Norse. Okay? And then English, of course. All right? You worry about if you meet others, you won't understand the way they speak. Well, you won't know till you try, so go try. Go try. All right? Are there any words from Russian? A few, yeah. I'm trying to remember them off the top of my head. Let's see. Like in America, we have somebody called the border czar. The border czar. A czar, that's the word for king in Russian. Okay? So we use that word. Vodka. Americans know what vodka is. That's a Russian word. Let's see. Here we go. Here's some more. The word mammoth. Mammoth, woolly mammoth, that comes from Russian. Parka, like a coat, that's from Russian. Samovar, the thing that we use to pour tea, that's from Russian. Babushka, yeah, babushka, although almost all the Americans, they say babushka. We heard it that way. That's the way we always heard. When we heard movies and we heard TV, they always said babushka, babushka, right? But it means grandma. It means like a grandma. But I know that my Russian friends have all told me it's supposed to be babushka, right? Like the accent's on the first, not on the second, right? Like, what else is there? Tundra, the word tundra, that comes from Russian. Yeah, so there are a few. There are some words, okay? Worcestershire, that's from England. That's the word shire means like a village, right? So that is the village of Worcester. That's what Worcestershire is, the village of Shire. Or, I'm sorry, the village of Worcester. God, I can't speak today. I need to eat some food. My brain is turning off. I said 60% of English words come from Latin, 30% from French, 20% from Greek. It does add up because they're not... It does add up because there are overlaps. That's why it does add up. Okay? And these numbers are also very hard to say with firm numbers, right? If you look this up online, there'll be some people who say it's 30% from Latin and 40% from French and 20% from German, and then there are other people who say another number, right? So there are different people who argue about the numbers. But One of the reasons why the numbers overlap is because I told you that the English language comes from Latin and from French, right? But French comes from Latin. So that means that there are many words that are French words that it's hard to say if the word originated from French or from Latin. Some of them you can tell because the word was created later. If the word was created later, then yeah, it's a French word. But if the word was created from a Latin root, then you can say it comes from Latin. But that's why it gets hard to say what the numbers are, right? But 60% I think is a good way to look at it. And the reason why is because so much of it is Latin and Greek, and the Romans. So why is so much of English from Greek? Because so much of Latin is from Greek. The Romans admired the Greeks. The Romans studied the Greeks. So Latin is influenced by Greek. English is influenced by Latin and French. All of these, they're all together, everybody. I can tell you the whole history. If you want me to tell you the story of how the language came together, I can. But it'll take a little while. Yeah, it doesn't add up because they overlap. All right? That's why it doesn't add up. I remember thinking the same thing when I was reading those statistics. I was like, wait a minute, that's not 100%. But that's not really how statistics always work. Sometimes when you're talking about a certain thing, certain percentages may overlap each other, right? They may have some coincidental information, right? So that means the numbers don't always add up to 100. Okay? All right. Guys, I'm hungry. So if you don't have questions, I'm going to leave soon. So you better think of your questions, okay? Would it be appropriate for me to use sophisticated vocabulary such as debonair, aristocratic, or voluptuous in everyday conversation? In my opinion, absolutely. Use the language that you want to use. Use the language that you like to use. Use the language that you prefer. Okay? If you want to say, I like that guy, he's very debonair. Fine. Okay? Sometimes in life, our language lowers to the level of our environment. But sometimes in life, you can raise your environment to the level of your language. Okay? Sometimes our language is lowered to the level of our environment. But sometimes you can raise the environment to the level of your language. Okay? So you can go into a place and you can influence them by using language that's a little bit more formal. Now, maybe they might want to be more formal too. They might laugh at you. They might say, wow, his language is so... So what, man? Be you. Okay? In this life, I follow 2 rules. Okay? These are 2 rules that are good for you also. The first rule is the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. All right? Treat others the way you would want to be treated. In Chinese, they have the same thing. I forgot how to say it in Chinese, but they say it backwards. They say, don't treat people poorly if you don't want them to treat you poorly. Right? That's what they say in Chinese, but it means the same thing. That's my first rule. But my second rule that I follow is Shakespeare. This above all, to thine own self be true. This above all, to thine own self be true. Be true to yourself, man. You do you. That's what we say. That's the modern version. Shakespeare said, this above all, to thine own self be true. And now in America we say, you do you. You do you. All right? Whatever you want to do that. Okay? So if you want to use elevated language, then do, man. Okay? And let me tell you one more thing. You said that you are learning to be a translator, right? You're learning to be a translator. That's different than almost everybody else here. That means your job is language, DT. So I'll tell you what that means. Look back here. You see this? I am also a drummer, okay? I am an English teacher, yes, but I have actually been a drummer for a lot longer, okay? And if you're a professional musician, whenever you touch that instrument, you play like a professional. A professional never plays below their level. Why would they do that? If I can play up here, why would I play down here? Okay? Now, on the other hand, DT, a musician also needs to know what music is this venue? What are they expecting? So if I am a rock musician, if I play rock drums at a jazz club, they're not going to be happy. So there's one thing to talk about your ability. That's just a general level of ability. But then there's another thing to talk about, and that is the environment. Every environment requires different language. Okay? And if I play rock music at the jazz club, they're not going to be happy. Just like if I play jazz music at the rock club, they're probably not going to be happy. All right? So I have to play rock at the highest level I can at the rock club. I have to play jazz at the highest level I can at the jazz club. But no matter when I play, if you're a professional, you always use the highest level that you can. Okay? You never know. What if I'm playing drums and I'm not playing well? I don't care. I'm being silly and I'm not playing well. And somebody watches me, somebody sees me, somebody listens to me, and they think, "Oh, he's not good." You don't know who that could be. That could be somebody famous. Maybe that's Lady Gaga is out there, and Lady Gaga heard me play and says, "Oh, wow, I'm not going to call that guy." I'm not calling him. He doesn't sound good because he was lazy when he played. All right? So always use the level you can. All right? Oh, and there it is. Thank you, Alyssa. That's it. Yeah. All right. And yes, I can see you. Why are silent letters used? That has to do with the history of the words. Okay, Noah? Some silent words come from French and some silent words come from German or from early English. It depends on which word it is. But for example, the word though, Though, right? Everybody says, why do you spell it Though, but you pronounce it though? Why? Because that's how we pronounce it now. But a long time ago, it was pronounced differently. A long time ago, the word though was pronounced though. Though. That GH at the end was this sound, almost like Arabic, right? That Arabic sound, right? We don't have that sound anymore. The language changed over time. The language changed. But we kept the spelling because the spelling tells us the history. If you lose the spelling, you lose the history. Okay? So you mean since I'm an English major, I should use just whatever advanced words or expressions I know, the fancier the better. If suitable, yes, that's correct. If you're in the right environment, then yes. Okay? So what that means is, yeah, if you're, you know, maybe you're at your university and you're speaking to a group of professors, then yes, use that level of language, right? Because you're in that environment. But if you go to the bar with some friends and they didn't go to college, or they don't speak English well, or they don't really care about vocabulary and they don't read much, they might not really appreciate the way you use advanced language. It might make them feel uncomfortable. Okay? So, when you speak, you have to think about not only what you're saying, but how someone else is going to hear it. Okay? You have to think about how are they going to hear it? What does it sound like to them? Okay? How do I need to speak in IELTS if I'm just saying about my hobbies? Romish, you should practice speaking about your hobbies. I like fishing. I like to go fishing once a month or once a week. I like music. I like to listen to rock music, and these are my favorite bands. I like hiking and camping. You need to think about what it is. Okay? Here's what I would say, Romish. Write it down first. Write it down and practice improvising what you wrote. So if you have four hobbies, right? I want you to practice talking about those hobbies in different ways. So you can say, I like A, B, C, and D, or you can say, I like D, B, C, and A, or C, D, A, and B, or B, D, C, and A, right? Whichever way it works. That means you're practicing improvising using the same words in different ways. Because I don't want you to practice it one way. At the IELTS, they don't want you to memorize things at the IELTS test. If you memorize something, they will know. They will know you memorized. So what you need to do is write down your four hobbies, and then I want you to practice speaking about those hobbies in every way you can, so that when they ask you about hobbies, you can freely speak about them. Okay? You have a problem with pronouncing where, were, and where. So WHERE is where, and WEAR is also where. I am wearing clothes. That's to wear clothes. Where is my friend? The pronunciation of the first one and the last one are exactly the same. The one in the middle, WERE, is pronounced were. Were. Okay? Where were you? Where were you? Oh, I was at my friend's. Where were you? Where were? Okay? Thank you, Mila. I do my best. Sometimes it's a little tiring. How can you improve your grammar? You can improve your grammar by going to this book. This is my favorite grammar book, and it is online for free. Go to that grammar book and use it. I think you can also, that's book 1. You can also find book 2. Book 1 and 2 are both online. That's the best grammar book, I'm telling you. It's really great. Try learning phonetic symbols. DT, I generally don't recommend learning phonetic symbols. If you're a linguist or you're a translator, fine. Then you can learn the IPA and phonetic symbols. But the truth is, I do not recommend that most people learn phonetics, because it's too much. it's kind of like telling somebody, well, oh, you want to learn English? Oh, but before you can learn English, you need to learn this language. It's kind of like telling somebody they need to learn a language to learn the language. And the other reason why is because 99% of native speakers in the US, we do not learn phonetics, we learn phonics. And there's a big difference. Phonics is basing your learning off the sound. Phonetics is basing your learning off the sound and symbols. That's two different things. Okay? Let's see. Cuando enseñara sobre el verbo to be en pasado, presente y futuro. Let's see. Past, present, future tenses. So I don't usually teach those. I don't teach grammar lessons. I don't teach lessons here, everybody. I answer questions. Okay? If you want a lesson, you need this. If you want me to teach you a lesson, you need to pay me. If you want to ask me questions, fine. Okay? Ask me your question. All right? But you're Chinese. Can you still use that grammar book? Yeah, 可以啊。我感觉就是很简单。Look, 你看，我看一下，就是这个。这里 basic English grammar. Okay? Let's look at the first page or two. Okay, look, capital letters. Okay, let me zoom in so you can see bigger. Look how easy this is. Nice and easy. Look, the writing is so nice and big, and they use the blue letters so you can see what you're supposed to be looking at, right? And they have exercises to practice here. Peter and I are good friends. Look, the P should be capitalized and the I should be capitalized. Okay? So this is a great book that's very easy, even if you're Chinese or Japanese or French or German or Italian or Martian. You'll be fine. Okay? 很多人他们觉得我是美国人，可是不是，我是外星人。According to my experience, what things make the Irish accent so hard to understand? That depends on who's speaking it. Ireland has a few different accents, or some people speak a little more clearly and some people have a little bit more thick accent. The Irish accent is definitely a closed mouth. When they speak, it's Irish, the Irish accent is more like this. It's very, very, the closed language, and it's very, very musical. The language goes up and down and up and down. And there's more of this kind of a, in the back of the mouth kind of a sound. This is the Irish accent. I mean, it's a terrible Irish accent, but it's close enough. All right? Hello, Lynn. Can you watch movies to improve your English? Yes, you can, but it won't help you much if you don't have the transcript. Okay? So, every American TV show and movie and podcast has a free transcript online. Okay? So, type the name of the TV show or the name of the movie, and then type in transcript, and then you'll find it, and you can download it. And what is a transcript? A transcript is a printout of all the language in the movie. So now you can hold it, and you can look at it, and you can make notes on the page. Now you can watch a movie and learn because you have something to hold. If you don't have anything to hold, then you are not learning. You're just watching a movie. All right? Oh, man. You like when I speak Spanish? I can say it pretty well, I think, except for my R. I can't roll my R. But my understanding is still fairly limited. But I should try to read more Spanish. Can I say about essays? You mean the IELTS essay? You should go practice. Go to my website. And on my website, after you subscribe to my website, click on the resources button and you'll find a bunch of resources to practice and study for the IELTS. Go there. Okay? Let's see. You just need book 1 and book 2. If you have that, that's most of the grammar you need. Okay, book 1 and book 2, those two. That's about it. What do I think about the German accent? You're asking because you're learning it. That's a weird thing to do, Aya. The German accent is not something you learn to speak English. You don't speak English with a German accent unless you're German. Nobody learns English and then says, oh, I think I want to speak English like I'm from Germany, but I'm not. So I don't know what you're doing. I can say namaste in Hindi. That's all I know in Hindi. And I don't know any Urdu, unfortunately. And the free resources, I told you, that one book is online, and if you do a search, you should find the second one also, right? So this book is called Basic English Grammar, Book 1. If you do a search, you'll find Book 2 also, all right? Please explain more about learning English with watching movies. Okay, Mustafa, if you want to learn English with TV shows or movies, choose a good TV show and movie. If you like Fast and Furious, the movie Fast and Furious, wonderful, that's great. But guess what? That movie is not good for learning English, okay? If you like Star Wars or Star Trek or the Transformers, great. Those movies are fine, but they're not good for learning English, so don't watch those. What movies are good for learning English? Movies about real life. Movies about family and friends and work and real life. Okay? That is a movie that will help you with your language. Then you need to get the transcript. I told you you can find it online for free. And then you need to watch the movie and study the transcript. Study the language. Learn what you like and what you don't like and what you know and don't know. Okay? You're learning English and German. Okay. But if you're learning German, when you speak English, you should try to have an English accent. I don't care which one. American, British, whatever. But when you speak English, you should try to use an English accent. And when you speak German, you should try to use a German accent. Now, there are a few German accents too. It depends on what area of Germany you're from. Okay? You used to want to learn the Indian accent because you think it's cool. All right. Learning a foreign accent for English is wild, right? Yeah, nobody does that, yeah. Is Friends good? Yes, Friends, the TV show Friends is one of the most famous, no, the TV show Friends is the most famous TV show for learning English in the world. More people have used that TV show for learning English than any other. What about Elite in Netflix? I don't know what that is, so I can't tell you. Big Bang Theory is pretty good, but sometimes Big Bang Theory uses a lot of science, and that might be hard or not useful to you. You can understand me because this is my job. Twilight, the movie? I've never seen it, so I don't really know for sure, but I know that the movie is more about drama than it is about supernatural stuff. So because it's mostly about drama and romance, maybe it's okay, but I still think there could be other movies that might be better. If the movie is close to real life, then it's probably better for your language. All right? So choose movies that are close to real life. All right? Is it good to learn English with cartoons? It can be, absolutely. Yeah, some cartoons are great for learning English. How can you speak like a real American? What does that mean? Who's a real American? Am I a real American? I don't know. Nobody told me. How do you know if you're a real American or not? Do we all speak the same? There are 360 million of us. Are we all real Americans? Those words don't mean anything. Just speak. Okay? What's the difference between used to, be used to, and get used to? Used to. I used to go to that store a long time ago. I used to know how to speak German. I used to like this TV show, but I don't like it anymore. So used to can be in the past. Something that you did in the past, but you don't anymore. Okay? I used to do it. To get used to something means to become familiar with it. So you're at a new job and everything is new and it's stressful, and somebody will tell you, don't worry, you'll get used to it. You'll get used to it. Means you'll become familiar, you'll become comfortable. All right? To be used to means you're already comfortable with something. Okay? So if I say, let me think of a good way to use that. If you're going to have this job, then you'd better be used to loud music. For example, when I was 16 years old, one of my first jobs was I worked at a concert venue for live music, and I was the person who took your ticket and I took you to your seat, right? And at this place, they have loud music. There's big speakers with loud, loud music. So they might say, if you're going to take this job, then you need to be used to loud music. You'd better be used to. Means you'd better be comfortable with, be familiar with, be okay with. All right? Do I know apps for learning English for free? I know this. Look, guys, this is my website. Now, please, look at this. I'm going to show you my website. Where is it? Go to my website, all right? Now, if you go to my website and you subscribe to my website, it's free. You can go up here to the resources button, okay? And when you go to the resources button, look at all these wonderful resources I have for you for studying. So somebody said, what did they say? They wanted to study what? I can't remember. Oh, right here. What apps for learning English for free? So these are not apps, but these are websites. Okay, so for example, go to the reading here, click on reading, and eslfast.com, Breaking News English, English Club Reading, British Council Reading, Hagerstown Reading. Okay, so if you go to my website, there are many, many, many things for you there for free to study. Okay? You think Aya just liked how I did the Irish accent? She wanted me to do a German accent too. I can't do that. I'm not really an actor. I don't know how to do that. Oh man. Sora, that's correct. Yeah. What do I think about HBO movies? It depends on the HBO movie. HBO movies, there's hundreds and thousands of HBO movies. Some might be good for learning English, some might not. Okay? You're welcome. How is Game of Thrones and House of Dragons? I like the Game of Thrones, I like the House of Dragons, but I don't think they're very good for learning English. Unfortunately, as an ordinary Chinese citizen, no matter how hard we study English, we rarely get to we rarely get many chances to communicate face to face with natives. What city do you live in, DT? If you live in a big city, you can find natives to speak with. You just don't. Okay? It's easy to find Americans in China. It's actually quite easy. All you need to do is on a Saturday afternoon, find out which restaurant has the best pizza or the best burger. Whichever restaurant has the best pizza and the best burger, go there on a Saturday afternoon, and I guarantee you that many of the local teachers or Westerners who live there, they will be eating there. You can go and say, hey, can I buy you a beer and practice my English? Can I buy you some fries and practice my English? Most of them will say, yeah, absolutely. All right? But also, DT, 我常常说我是美国人，现在我住在美国，可是每天我可以练习中文，因为我练习想的，不是要说的，不是要的，我是要想的 ，OK？The picture on my wall behind me is a poster from when I was 20 years old. That's me right here. You see this guy, there's three guys? That's me. That's a band that I was in a long time ago. Okay, guess what, guys? It's been 2 hours. It's time for me to get going. It's time for me to get going. You live in Chengdu. Okay, that's a big city. There are plenty of foreigners there. There are plenty of people who speak English there, but you have to go find them. If you find the food, you will find the foreigner. If I want to find Greek people, I go find the Greek food. If I want to find Chinese people, I go find the Chinese food. If I want to find Japanese people, I go find the Japanese food. It's easy. All right? You find the food, you will find the foreigner. Okay? In the United States, many people learn British English and not the American accent. That's not true. No. David, I am a teacher in the United States, and I have been teaching for a long time, and I can tell you with 100% certainty that nobody in America is learning British English, man. American English derives from British English, so in that sense we're learning British English, but there is a very big difference between American English and British English. No Americans say the boot of the car. No Americans say I'm going on the lift. No Americans say I have a flat. No, those are British words. All right? And we don't say a bottle of water. We say a bottle of water. All right? So there are definitely not a lot of Americans learning British English. I would say none. Okay? I don't know where you heard that. Yes, that's right, isn't it? Yeah, the only time when they are is if they like a TV show. Maybe there's a British TV show they like, and so they like those words like in it, right? but I promise you, Americans are not learning British English. Okay. Lola, yes, you can. Lola, you can come on stage very quickly, but then I have to go because I'm really tired. My mouth is dry, everybody. Hello, Lola.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Um, I wanted to talk to you because I really understood myself like yesterday. I
Mm-hmm.
came to a conclusion,
Mm-hmm.
so I wanted to tell you.
Okay.
First, what happened to me 2 years ago, I was on Hello Talk, but
Mm-hmm.
I got overwhelmed and deleted my account. And I was dealing with depression. So here I am. I came again and I'm trying again.
Good.
And I really wanted to explain why I am afraid to speak because in my culture, you get instant punishment, all right?
Yeah, I know, especially
When,
in Egypt. I've heard this before. In Egypt and in India.
yeah,
Egypt and India, these are two countries that, for some reason, the Middle East in general, in the Middle East,
yeah,
I don't know why, but in the
they're
Middle
really
East,
strict and perfectionist. They like perfectionism.
well, yes, but it's not helpful. The way that you are
Yeah, they
is
are
too
not helpful.
negative and too crushing. And
Yeah,
and
when
and
you
to be
make a
honest,
mistake, you get instant punishment
that's
or
right.
you get belittled and humiliated.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Every time that I hear
Mm.
this, every time that I have seen this happen, the people who are making fun of you, they are not great either.
Yeah, they just wanna
Yeah. So I don't know.
look
There,
act stronger or better.
yeah, I don't know why. There is this. It is a cultural thing. It's a kind of a weird cultural thing that. Yeah. Look, it's weird. It's
They are
like,
insecure.
well, yes, but here's what's weird about it is it's like there's a competition, right? And you guys are all competing with each other. And most places,
All the time.
if I know another American is learning Chinese, I want to help him. I don't want to say, "Oh, I hope his Chinese is not as good as mine," and I'm gonna make fun of him because I don't want him to feel good about his language. I'm not gonna do that. If he's learning something and I can help him,
Yeah,
then I want to help him because I can, right? So there's a weird thing over there where everybody's feeling like language is part of your ego, and so
yeah.
people criticize
It's
your
not
language as
only
part of
the
ego.
language, it's everything.
Well, that's true. I know it goes
It's a,
beyond language.
with
It's
everything.
a cultural thing. Yeah, I know. But because it's a cultural thing, you have to accept it as a cultural thing, but you have to
Yeah,
disregard. You also have to disregard it because it's a cultural thing. So all you need to do is you just need to remember this one thing. Okay? All you need to do is remember this. Whatever they're saying is not as important as whatever I'm saying. Okay? So if they
you're right.
say you're not good, come here and talk to me, and then I'll talk to you. And if I think you're good, I'll say you're good. And then whatever they said doesn't matter, does it?
It doesn't matter.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, it's not an excuse, and I don't want to live in a victim role. I'm just explaining the origin of my fear
No, I know. I
because I'm,
totally understand. And I've seen it many, many times, Lola. You're not the first
yeah,
one. I've
because
seen this
until
many, many times.
yesterday,
Yeah.
yeah, until yesterday, I mistakenly thought it was just because I'm shy, but I'm not. I'm not shy.
Yeah, I think that's good. That's a good realization that you just recognized that this is not really about you. You're just in a very critical environment. So
Exactly.
so if you're in a critical environment and everybody you know what it is like, Lola, when I was a boy, they had a video game. It was called Whack-a-Mole. Okay, whack means to hit something, right? And a mole is this
Yeah.
little. It's a little animal that digs in your yard. They dig through the ground, right?
I
And
know
so
it. Yeah.
so yeah, moles whack a
I know
mole.
it.
You know the game, right? It pops up.
I
And,
know it.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what it's like when you're there. You're like you're coming up, and, and then they whack you, and then you go back down, and they come up and they whack you again, right? It's like whack a mole. Everywhere you go, they're like whacking you and
I've
saying,
been
"No,
whacked a lot.
yeah, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad. That's not good. You're bad, right?" And
You
it's like,
suck, you
yeah,
loser.
that's right. That's no fun. It's no fun to be the mole. It's no fun to be the mole,
Yeah.
right? So you just need to remember that, that sometimes the country that you live in might not be the best environment critically. That there are certain places in the world where for some reason there's this hypercritical nature that's not supportive. It's not helping.
Yeah.
It's beating people down. It's not helping
Yeah,
anybody.
negative society.
Yeah, it's a negative energy that is weird because it feels like it's very immature to me. It feels like you're like
Yeah.
mature people don't beat other people down. If
Yeah.
if I have good language and your language is not good, I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to use that and say my language is better, so I'm going to beat you with it. No. I'm going to recognize, okay, my language is good, hers is not as good. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I don't feel a need to have to tell you. Okay, and guess
That's the
when
normal
you're
person.
that's right. And when you're a teacher, it's also very important when you're a teacher. Teachers make this mistake a lot when they're new. Sometimes teachers think that you're supposed to correct everything. No, you're not. You're definitely not. If you correct every little thing, it's the same thing. It's like I have a hammer, and every time you say a word, I'm there to hit you over the head. Like, nope, that was wrong. Nope, that was wrong. Nope, that was wrong too. Nope, that wasn't right. And if you do that, they're going to give up.
Yeah, teaching in our culture is really bad. Like they instantly punish you when you make a mistake. Any mistake.
Okay, so now you know that, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thanks to you,
so
actually.
so now that you know that, just put that away and now move on. Now you have a
Yeah.
different perspective. Perspective is important. Okay? So
Yeah.
don't let them affect you. Okay? When you go outside, sometimes it's windy. Okay? And sometimes the wind is just a little bit. It doesn't bother you. Sometimes the wind is very strong, but you have to walk against it. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
So, if it's windy, you still got to walk against the
No
wind.
fight.
Yeah. Okay? Yeah, like there's a city in America called Chicago, and Chicago is called the Windy City because sometimes in the winter up there, the wind is so strong. I am not kidding. It's like you're walking and the wind, you can't move. Like you could go like this and the wind will hold you up because it's that strong.
There's huge resistance.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's crazy. You'll see people have to go, like old ladies are trying to walk and people have to go help the old lady walk because they can't walk against the wind. It's too strong. So
Yeah.
that's a good metaphor in life. There are some places where the wind is a little difficult and you have to walk against it.
Yeah.
All right?
I'll try my best.
And I believe
Wish
you
me
can
luck.
do it. You can do it. You can do it. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Okay?
Thanks a lot.
All right. Good luck to you, Lola. I'll see you next time, okay?
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay. I need to go, guys. I really do. I keep saying that, but I do need to go. So I'll be back tomorrow. Come back and see me again tomorrow. All right? If you don't know already, here is my YouTube channel. Whoops. Here's my YouTube channel. Here is my website. And here is my my blog. There's my YouTube, there's my website, there's my blog. Follow those. Follow me here on Hello Talk. I'm usually here Monday through Friday, and I'm usually trying to answer questions, okay? I don't usually prepare anything to teach, not usually, because you should pay a teacher. If they're going to teach you and they're going to prepare things, then you should pay them. But I'm happy to come here and answer questions, all right? But you have to do the work, all right? You can't expect a teacher to do the work for you for free. But if you do the work and you ask me questions, fine, all right? I can do that. All right, that's it for me. Have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening wherever you live in the world. Can you talk to me next time? Sure, why not? Yeah, come back and see me next time, okay? Take care, Marco. Take care, everybody. Bye. See you next time.